ago, I was standing here looking for my meditation. I didn't have it. I always write it, so I just kind of no place to be found. So anyway, worked out all right. So you know, I like to start with a little bit of humor, as Ron Neff does too. And so let me tell you, you all heard about the story of Adam and Eve, right? You know that story. Yeah. Well, it seems one day Eve was kind of walking around the garden, and she wasn't feeling too chipper. She was kind of been there for several weeks. And, yeah, something's missing. And one day God shows up and says, "What's the matter with you? You've been moping a bit here. In this beautiful surroundings, how could you be unhappy?" And Eve says, "Yeah, I know, but I have no one to share this place with." And so God said, "Well, I can understand where that's coming from. I'll tell you what I'll do is I will create a companion for you. We shall call him man." Now, the only thing is, because he will have a big ego and a lot of vanity, what we'll have to do is make sure that we tell him that he was first. Okay? So, and we'll let that be a secret between us girls. Okay. All right. Now, my assistant is going to handle the slides from me, so I don't omit any of them. Okay, I don't never give any attention to numerology, but I couldn't help when I saw the date for the day, 02/02/2020, right? This must mean something to someone, somewhere. Did you turn on the machine, Ed? I just remember. Thank you. Ed's handling the video for me. All right, so anyway, if anybody has any deep insights into that number, just let us know. But it is a new decade, and those of you who were here for the bowl burning service may recall, because of the nature of the service, there wasn't much time to talk about a lesson. I did put in some very short points that had to do with perhaps creating a little better decade for ourselves. And I decided that it probably would be a good idea to expand on that a little bit, and this is what I'm focusing on today. A new decade, a new you. So we're talking about creating a better life for ourselves by improving our ability to express who we really are, because that ultimately will bring us the kind of satisfaction I think we look for. And we have to be able to express who we are regardless of the opinions and the behavior and the beliefs of the rest of the world. That really shouldn't matter to us. As expressions of God, or what we call it God. I always like to put that in quotes, it has so many connotations. But source. As we continue to evolve, all of us will continue to expand our infinite creative capacity in this world of form that we call the earth life. And if life hasn't brought you the kind of fulfillment that perhaps you're looking for, then you have to change how you think, how you feel, and how you act. And so we're going to first focus on the healing part, because this is something that is essential in order to move forward. Maybe some of you, and I did in the past, have tried very hard to achieve a goal or some life expression that was important to you, and you haven't been very successful at it. If that's the case, then it's likely that you have one or more subconscious programs that are sabotaging your dream. The good news is we can change our life experience. But I don't know if any magic pill. Joanne was watching the news this morning, and they were talking about a pill that, some kind of drug that this guy's developing that can actually, it doesn't reverse aging, but it gets rid of all the aches and pains that are affiliated with aging. And he's tried it on mice, and they seem pretty happy about it. So next thing he's going to try it on humans. But anyway, there is no such pill yet to delete the faulty programming that was written in our brains when we were between birth and 7 years of age or so. Some of you probably remember the old computerese term GIGO. Do you remember what that meant? G-I-G-O? Okay, garbage in, garbage out, right? That was an old programmer's slogan. And so if If you find that there's a lot of garbage out in your life, that means somewhere along the past, somebody's put in some garbage, okay? So that is what we have to heal. So we have to be willing to work on ourselves to change it. And I found that quite often, this is not unusual, that there's a big fear that stands in our way of creating the life that we really want. And some people, some of you may have done it, may confront such a fear directly. But in my case, the fear was so intense that it took many years of work to heal the underlying cause behind that fear, because any fear you have has got a cause underneath. And so as you attempt to create a better life for yourself, consider my personal experience. It's going to possibly take some time, okay? Doesn't have to, but it can take time. Of course, depends on how deeply embedded the subconscious programs that are ruling your life are. Healing deep-seated emotional blocks often requires the help of one or more experts, and in my days, way back in, starting around maybe 1978, I started, in fact, one of the healers that I consulted with was a hypnotherapist. And I had by that time read a couple of metaphysics books, and we often discussed metaphysics after my hypnotherapy session was over with. And she said, you know, the stuff you believe, you gotta go, there's a church that teaches that. I said, oh yeah, I never heard of any such. I've not gone to any churches. She says, yeah, go over and see Glenn Mosley over at Unity of Akron, and you know, he'll introduce yourself and tell him I sent you. So I did, and that was, I think, 1980. I started attending Unity. So it took a lot more beyond that. I tried psychotherapy. Well, not in a sense. I went to a psychiatrist. He said, there's nothing wrong with you. Fortunately, he didn't prescribe me a bunch of drugs. My GP gave me some Valium. I took that for about 5 months. That's sick. And then I went to various others. There was a fellow by Dr. Daniel Selling who kind of introduced medical hypnosis to the United States. He was from Holland. And I went to him for about a year and a half. And didn't seem to make any progress. So none of that really seemed to work. What it ultimately took, I think, is just years and years of being surrounded by loving people like yourself, going over to Unity Church, attending retreats, doing classes, reading books, listening to lots and lots of Sunday lessons, and being hugged by 100 people every Sunday, okay? That, I think, did more than anything else to dispel the underlying emotional problem. So, but once we do heal the blocks to a greater expression of our real self, then we can really begin to tune into our purpose. So your purpose. How many were here 2 weeks ago when Reverend Gill spoke about Jonah and the big fish? You remember that, okay? Now, I don't know about you, but when he talked about, are you doing God's will? And you kind of, you know, anybody feel just a little hint of guilt, you know? So I wonder if I'm doing God's will. Well, I wonder what he really wants from me. And all I gotta say is don't worry, because this thing that we call God won't condemn you if you're not fulfilling your purpose, okay? You don't have to worry about that. However, you know there always has to be a however, right? You as a soul, which is an individualized expression of that God, probably came into this earth environment, your body, with a strong desire to create something that is very important to you. If you have avoided doing that important thing, or simply not found what it is, then know that finding and doing your thing is important, because it could bring you much greater experience of happiness and avoid the big fish stuff, okay? So if you do want that happiness, there's a technique that can help. And again, I speak from experience. Unless you've done the work and are free of those subconscious blocks, opening to guidance will likely be too fearful, because it's going to take you into a total, a zone where you're completely not comfortable with yourself. In my case, it was a severe, severe sense of unworthiness. Dr. John Bradshaw many years ago labeled such individuals shame-based individuals who don't feel like they deserve anything good to have in their life. And that's where I stood at, and that's why it took so long. But once you have healed such blocks, then you're ready to hear and actually, ask and hear, because For me, it was even hard to ask. I didn't want to ask because it might, this is going to, no doubt what he wants me to do is going to scare the heck out of me, so I'm not going to do that. So let's listen to Prince E. He has some interesting things to say. I showed a video like that some months ago, somewhat similar. Let me turn off this light.
When given the choice between being blind or being deaf, do you know what most people choose? Take a guess. They choose to be deaf. It's not breaking news, right? I mean, to choose the eyes is such an easy decision. So it boggles my mind, even though we cherish our eyes, so many people live without having a clear vision. At birth, the universe gave you a prescription that's custom-made lenses designed for you and placed in your heart. So do not live your whole life without having contact with that part. See, a wise man once said, there are none so blind as those who choose not to see. How many people do you know who were given a vision, given an idea, but chose not to act on it? They got the call, but hit decline on the true purpose of their lives. Maybe this is you, and maybe you were scared. Maybe you needed someone else to confirm it and make it clear. But that's not how the world works, I swear. See, eyes that look are common. Eyes that can truly see are rare. Oh, you want proof? Well, let's play a game. I'm gonna make a statement, and then you guess the person's name. You ready? Let's play. He was fired from a newspaper for having no imagination or original ideas. Walt Disney. Okay, next one. His teacher said he was hopeless and would never be a composer. That's Beethoven. How about this one? Her singing coach said she will never make it as a singer because her voice breaks too much. Lady Gaga. See, the critics couldn't see Tyrone Bogue's vision either. When Tyrone was 10 years old, he stopped growing. He was diagnosed with a rare disease that stunted his growth. He spent his whole life at the height he was when he was 10. So how could this boy play in the NBA for 13 seasons? Because he had a vision bigger than his limitations. Ladies and gentlemen, what is your dream? You better own it. Do not let people with possibility blindness, nearsighted ambitions block your vision and give you life glaucoma. There have been over 107 billion people to have lived and died on planet Earth, but there has never been and will never be another you. You have greatness inside of you. You have a gift inside of you. So take that blindfold off now. Rip it up, break it. Life ain't just about making a living. It's about living your making. It is no coincidence that the year approaching is 2020 because I have a funny suspicion that if you work on your self-image and stop squinting at your ambitions, then 2020 won't be your year. It will be your decade of perfect vision.
Man, there's a lot of good stuff on YouTube. It's just fabulous. So, where am I? Okay. So a good way to find out what's yours to do is to go into a deep meditation. It's not complicated stuff. And ask and keep on asking, however long it takes, a day, a week, a month, a year. What is the next higher level of expression for me? And even if you're not open, some of us are at an age now, we don't need any big adventures anymore. We're not going to go conquer the world, but even if you're not open to some big adventure, you can still improve something. Then simply ask this: what can I do to make the world a better place for people, animals, the environment, or whatever? Now, if you're thinking, hey, Rene, I'm 65 plus, it's time to relax, what, and never change again? It's actually impossible, because that thing we call God, that creative energy behind the universe, is ever expanding, and so are we, because we are part of that God. So let's improve at least one thing this year. Now, if you have some kind of an idea of what you might want to do that's different from what you have been doing, then you need an action plan. Wishful thinking won't get us very far. In addition to a clear vision, fulfilling a desire usually requires some kind of work. So, I suggest you write a detailed description of the steps you believe are needed to accomplish your goal. If you're not sure how to do it, just consult with experts. You know, these days I find almost anything you want to do, you're going to find the answer for it, or at least some darn good hints on Google or on YouTube. I also have here, remember, Susie Orman gives a lot of great advice regarding financials, and Dr. Oz and people like him, that there's several of them on YouTube also, that things to do with health. It's easy to find information. I remember the days when you used to have to go to the library, you know, the teacher asked you to write a term paper. You spend half the time, or 2/3 of the time was in the library looking through car catalogs and finding books. And it was, now you go on Google and right there. So, the one thing to remember is that whatever path you take towards your goal, be alert to the guidance for course corrections, okay, from your higher self, because the path to any kind of goal is rarely a straight line. If you have a really big dream, know that many successful people have failed one or more times before they realized that dream. So keep on keeping on, be patient and persist in whatever it is you pursue. You may remember Thomas Edison and his team. You know they tried more than 6,000 different materials to create a filament for a light bulb until they finally found one that worked. It is carbonized bamboo. So, now suppose you have a plan, you have some action that you want to do, but you know action alone is, to achieve any desired goal is not enough. Action alone can lead to a lot of hard work, stress, discouragement, and possibly even burnout. You've heard that all things physical are in a continual state of vibration, right? We all know that thoughts are powerful, but they're like seeds. It is the vibration created by the powerful emotions that underlie a thought that makes the best fertilizer and creates that superior attractive force. Your vision and actions must be continually supported by strong emotion. I have frequently said that thoughts are a little bit like the steering wheel in a car, but what gets you going? The motor, and the motor is vibration, it's enthusiasm that creates that high vibration that basically aligns you with the equivalent in universal mind. That when you're vibrating at the rate of something that you want, the enthusiasm, the love, and everything else, then you will attract that. So where do these emotions come from? Well, emotions result from repeated thoughts and feelings relative to our life experiences. And our feelings arise from meanings that we attach to those experiences, right? We call things good or bad. Events that we call good, that we like, we call good. They elicit positive feelings. And of course, the opposite is true. But what we like or don't like, unfortunately, is often based on what we've been told in the first 7 years of our lives, where we've just programmed unwittingly. So a frequent repetition of thoughts then about a given event and the associated feeling will in time create an underlying emotion that becomes embedded in our subconscious. And our most powerful beliefs pretty much create our reality because they have the most powerful emotions attached to them. So, what's the key to real success? Is powerful emotion supporting correct beliefs. That's the whole key. Eckhart Tolle says this, something like that. The best foundation for manifesting our dream is to focus on gratitude for all the good we have in our lives already. Now, you've heard this many times from up here. Because gratitude is another form of love. And love is the most powerful, attractive vibration in all of creation. So here's something you could try. Visualize the goal that you have, whatever it may be. It can be anything. Whether it's a health thing or financial, whatever, visualize in as much detail as you possibly can. And then try to feel the joy, the gratitude, or love that you would experience if that thing was actually in your life right this moment. And I'm not going to say this is easy. I sort of played with this a little bit this last week, and I was like, what would I feel like if I won the lottery, right? Well, you know, obviously we all would enjoy having all that money, but really feeling the, you know, yes, I got it. It's not that easy to generate that kind of feeling. And that's, of course, an easy one. You know, we can all relate, oh, yeah, I got millions. But, you know, if you're talking about you have a health condition and you want to see that healed, it may not be that easy for you to feel that feeling of love and gratitude that you would feel if somebody came along, you healed, right? And you know it. So, but anyway, embracing a vivid vision of a desire with love is indeed the most creative force in the universe. So I'd like to conclude with this. Whatever you have to deal with in life, whatever dream you wish to manifest, always and always know that you never walk alone. Each and every day, call upon that indwelling Spirit of God and give thanks for the healing of everything that needs healing on every level of your being, whether it be in body, mind, or soul. Now, it may take time, but it will come to pass. And you know, if you forget this lesson and all of metaphysics you have ever read and heard, I want you to remember this one thing. I mentioned it in meditation. It doesn't matter who you are or how you have lived your life, how you're living it now. In the eyes of what we call God, you are okay exactly as you are, wherever you are, however you express. You always have been okay. You always will be okay. You will never be condemned in any way. And that is the truth, and so it is. Thank you for allowing me to fulfill a big part of my soul's desires. Namaste. All right. Thank you, my dear.